Alright, how's she going, eh? I've been hearing enough talk about 318s to last me the rest of my life, and I got nothing bad to say about them. They've hauled tons of garbage to the dump in D100s for the last 30 years. They got lots of Babas to church on Sunday, and they were less late than the Babas with the Slant 6. But as for hot rodding them, sure. Today, with aftermarket cylinder heads, cams, aftermarket support like that, stroker kits, you can make power with anything. The 360 would be, of course, the more go-to, and I don't know why anyone would do a 318 over a 360. There's only one situation I can think of. It's kind of a make-believe story I came up in my head. But let's say a young guy, 25 years old, works his ass off. You know, it's hard to get ahead in life these days. His grandfather ran a 62 Max Wedge. His dad had a cool Roadrunner. He heard all these stories, and you know, he wants some of that. So he starts looking at cars in his price range for the little bit of money if he was able to save up, and A-body Dodges are the cheapest. But every time he goes to look at one, it's been sitting in the trailer park 30 years. It's just a piece of shit. It's just a rat's nest. So he looks at some newer ones, some Scamps, some Dart Sports. Still nothing that he'd want to take home. Let's say this guy's name is Jack, but he isn't Junkyard Jack. He wants something that looks presentable. So then he goes to the next best thing. He starts looking at Aspens, Valeris. Same thing. You know, the car is not a solid car. It's not a muscle car. It has a look he likes, but it's a pile of junk for a lot of money. So he's kind of getting disappointed, and all of a sudden one day, this car pops up, moving to senior home, and it's an 81 Dodge Murata, two-door, black, console shift, red interior. Goes and looks at it. It's not exactly what he wanted, but the thing is clean, it's got low miles, runs perfect. So he takes it home, it's his pride and joy. Wet sands it with 3000 grit, power polishes it, arm rolls in, steams the interior, looks gorgeous. But it doesn't have the look. The ass end's all saggy from those old long Dodge leaf springs and whatnot, so anyhow, he needs some wheels. As soon as he gets some wheels and tires, it's going to change the look of that car. So he finds on Craigslist or in the classifieds, set of Keystone wheels, 5 on 4.5. Been sitting in my shed for 30 years. He goes there to get them. Tires hold air. They got some tread left. They're old, but they're not weather checked. They're old Kelly Superchargers, N5015, and some 60 series for the front. Airs them up, goes to put them on the car. They won't fit the car because the ass end sags so bad. So he's disappointed, but he's not giving up yet. Goes to the parts store, gets himself a shackle kit, gets a big old pry bar, pries those leaf springs down, gets those bolts through, boom, puts them on his car. They finally fit. Not much clearance, but they fit. Takes her for a drive. Every single bump he hits, corner he takes, they're rubbing on the sidewalls or rubbing on the fender lip. So now he's got to spend money that he really doesn't have, but he's got no choice. Goes down to Napa, gets a set of Max Air Monroe shocks, puts them in, gives them all his compressor has, 120 psi, ass end's way up now, a little too high, drives around for a bit like that, knocks it down to 70, looks good, doesn't rub, everything's happy. Now, the problem is his car has a good look. Every set of lights he gets beside, someone's trying to race him, from kids in their mom's minivans to, you know, new Camaros, and the thing's it's a gutless pile. So he knows a motor's not, motor's in his near future. So he looks at some 360s. They've been sitting outside. They're probably bored 60 over. They're incomplete. You know, it just looks like another money pit. But he knows his 318 in his car is a damn good engine. It's been well taken care of and probably never ever seen over half throttle its entire life. So he decides to go with his 318. Goes in Rock Auto, orders a complete engine overhaul kit, just like I did for this 390 here. It'll cost about $700, and that includes all new lifters, cam, melon cam, cast rings, connecting rod bearings, main bearings. Throws a high volume oil pump in there for good measure, double roller timing chain, throws in a Melling stage 1 cam, which is just above an RV cam, and even goes with Engine Tech lifters because they're cheaper, just to save a few bucks. Felpro gasket set, boom, motor's assembled. But he wants some bolt-ons. Goes to some swap meets. Guys have old Performer RPMs and Performers. They got stripped threads. They're got chips in them. Looks at some Holley Street Dominators. Same thing. You know, old junk. It's got the EGR blocked off with a bunch of JB Weld. It's got cracks in the bottom. So screw it. Goes and gets a cast manifold off a mid-70s 360 that had a thermoquad on it. Thermoquad's no good. Prone to leaking. Very good carb when they do work. Same thing with a Holley. You buy a used Holley for $200. You put a $200 rebuild kit in it, and then you use it as a lawn sprinkler. So what he does is he gets an AFB 625, $20 for a rebuild kit. Only cleans it up. Only thing wrong is the accelerator pump was a little dry. For ignition, bought all new, just AC Delco plugs, cheap wire set, and then he goes and throws in GM HEI, like a Davis HEI module, wires it up to the GM or to the Chrysler distributor, takes one of the springs off the Chrysler distributor so it comes in real quick, and he's ready to go. Only thing missing, exhaust manifolds. He doesn't want to run those exhaust manifolds. They got the block off in them, they rattle, they don't flow with the shit. So he gets himself a set of Flowtech shorty headers. Cheapest you can get, 120 bucks. Puts them on there. Make sure he has it on top dead center. Flicks the key. Thing dials to life. Everything's new on it. All from Rock Auto. Breaks the cam in. Everything works good. Puts it over to the muffler shop with the last few bucks he's got. Gets dual 2.5 straight out the back. Can't even afford tips. Gets Thrush glass backs, 4-inch case, 24-inch long. Sound real good, but they're not too loud and they flow like straight pipe. So now he's got some motor, so he starts walking on it. Still no power, won't squawk the tires. 40 miles an hour, drop her back into low gear, and it pulls pretty damn good, and he's happy like that. So he does a lot of roll racing, but from the light, no good. So he goes and crawls in the mud, finds an old Dodge van, the Slant 6. Pulls the diff cover off, sure shit, 391s. Good score. Doesn't really know what he's doing, runs a wire through the whole spacer bearing assembly and puts it in just like that, puts some white grease on the teeth, rolls her back and forth. The engagement of the gears is good enough for him. So now he goes out and he's squawking tires off the line, and he's got himself a good running motor, and he's happy in a pig and shit. Takes the track, does 1510, 1520. Maybe if the stars are aligned, he'll get 14.9, 14.8 out of it. But he's happy. He built the motor, painted it Chevy orange because they didn't have Mopar orange there, but whatever. Runs like a top, and the reason he went with that motor is because he knew it was a very good core to begin with because he drove it every single day. Makes about 250 horsepower, but runs very good. Cost him $1,000. Maybe get some swap meet valve covers that were all rusted. Hit it with some chrome cleaner. Same with a 14-inch air cleaner. Clean that up. Runs very good. Runs very, very good. So now he has a car that's got shiny paint. It's got a beautiful interior. It looks aggressive with its 15 by 10s on the back. It sounds good, and it's actually a fun car to drive. The only thing missing now is a B&M Stage 2. Picks one of them up for $100. Should have done it before with the motor out, but decides to do it on the driveway. Now it squawks the tires off the line because he's got 391s, and it gives a good bark into second, and he's happier than a pig in shit. So that's what I can see a guy doing a 318 for. A guy that doesn't have much money, a guy that has a very good core, and a very solid car to begin with. Now for a race car, I would not think of anything like that. A 318 to me is like a 305. I don't know of many people doing 305s. Could you make some power with one? Sure, but you could make a lot more with a 400. Usually bigger is better. For instance, we could have put a 318 in Mike's Lark, but we got a 360 for the same money, so why not go with the extra cubes? Extra cubes is always your friend. The only thing I would say different is I would probably choose a 340 over a 360 for a drag car, but there ain't much difference there, and I'd probably choose a 302 Chevy or a 283 Chevy over a 305. So I didn't mean to piss any people off here. I just been hearing so much 318 talk lately, and I thought I'd give my opinion for what I would do one for. And I'm sure some people beg to differ, but maybe I opened a few eyes on some others and said, yeah, he's right. And I'm sure there's others that just tell me to go to hell. But either way, leave a comment in the messages below. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. All right, have a good one. Till next time.